is we pretend this is equal to 0, right? So let's factor the left-hand side. We get x plus 4 times x plus 2 is greater than 0, right? 2 times 4 is 8, and 2 plus 4 is 6. So we're good there. And then we say, well, the critical values is what we call them, are -4 and -2. Remember this? And then we put them on a number line. Okay. And we want this product on this left-hand side to be less than 0. So we're looking for negatives. Okay. So we pick a test point. -5, -3, and let's test 0. Okay. Into this guy. So -5. Well, -5 plus 4 would be a negative. -5 plus 2 would be a negative. What's a negative times a negative? Positive. So this would be positive in this region. Okay. Let's plug in -3. -3 plus 4 would be a positive. -3 plus 2 would be a negative. Positive times negative is a negative. So in that region, we're going to be negative. I was below the x-axis. And then plug in 0. 0 plus 4 would be a positive. 0 plus 2 would be a positive. Positive times positive is a positive. I'm looking for less than 0, right? So is it the left area, the middle area, or the right area? The middle area. I want it negative, okay? And it's strictly less than 0. It's not less than or equal to 0. So the boundaries are out. -4, -2, curved parentheses, not brackets, curved parentheses. Had it said less than or equal to 0, it would be square brackets. Questions on that? All you have to do is factor it. Factor it, number line, test points.
Test points. I got that, and then you know how I never knew how to do the thing with the.
I do remember that. I remember that now. Think about it. We're looking for less than 0.
I got my work down.
Less than 0. This means negatives, correct? Negatives. Question 21. 22. Write the equation that expresses the relationship between the variables and use the given data to solve for k. T varies directly as the cube of r. T varies directly as the cube of r and inversely as the square root of s. Okay, so that means that t equals k r cubed over the square root of s, where k is some constant. It says t is 12 when r is 6 and s is 0.16. So replace t with 12, k, r is 6, and s is square root 0.16. I probably should have had my calculator up. 6 cubed is 216. And the square root of 0.16, I think, is 0.4. Right? 0.4 times 0.4 is 0.16. And then you need to multiply both sides by 0.4 and then divide by 216. Let's get my calculator up for that. Should have had that before. Dropped the ball. Vamonos. All right. So I'm going to take 12 multiplied by 0.4 and then divide by 216. And it looks like k is 0.0222. And all it said was write the equation. Okay. So that means that it's t equals 0. Oh boy, that's not at all I did. T equals 0.0222 r cubed over radical s. Okay. We used to do questions that would say, you have to solve for k first, and then if r is 5 and s is 10, what does t have to be? And you plug in, for r and s. But that's not what this question asked. It just said, write the equation. Okay.
Is this going to be exactly like the exam?
It's very similar. Very, very similar. Questions on 22.
Nice.
All right. 23. Find the distance and midpoint. All right, so here we go. Distance, square root. It's x1 minus x2 squared plus y1 minus y2 squared is the distance formula. So we're going to do, let's see, 4 minus negative 3, which is going to be 4 plus 3 squared. And then 7 minus 11 squared. Right, 4 plus 3 because it's 4 minus negative 3 and 7 minus 11. 4 plus 3 is 7, squared is 49. And then 7 minus 11 is negative 4, squared is 16. So it looks like I get radical 65. 65 is 13 times 5, and that is it. 5 and 13 are prime. So radical 65 is not going to get reduced. Midpoint formula. It's add the x's, divide by 2, comma, add the y's, divide by 2. Add up the x's, divide by 2, add up the y's, divide by 2. So here we're going to say 4 plus negative 3, which is same as 4 minus 3 over 2, comma 7 plus 11 over 2. Apologize for my speed, just trying to get through everything. 4 minus 3 is 1, so we get 1 half, comma 7 plus 11 is 18, cut in half is 9. 1 half, comma 9. Issues on 23.
Very. What time is class at?
12:23.
What was it again?
12:23.
Dang, they really took out that much time.
We good? We good? All right, 24. X and Y intercepts. X-intercept, be careful. When you're trying to find the x-intercept, that's when y is 0, right? And the y-intercept when x is 0. So all we're going to do here for the x-intercept, replace y with 0, and you get 5x equals 20. Divide by 5, you get x equals 4. And for the y-intercept, make x 0, y equals 10. Easy. Just, well, it's easy as long as you remember for the x-intercept y is 0 and for the y-intercept x is 0. It's easy to make that mistake. Okay. So be careful there, but yeah, that should be pretty easy, I would think.
So you just imagine.
I would think. Questions on 24.
In the bag.
24. All right. 25. Center and radius. Well, no work here. What's my center? It makes the guys 0. What makes x plus 2 0? Negative 2. And what makes y minus 5 0? Positive 5. So that's my center. And remember, the radius is always the square root of the other side, so the radius should be 8. Square root of 64. So in other words, x minus 8 squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared.
Wait, what was the radius again?
The square root of 64. Because r squared is 64. So take the square root of both sides. Questions on 25. That should be real easy. But again, remember the sign issue. 26. Find f of 3, f of negative 2, and f of 1. So f of 3, which one am I following? The top guy or the bottom guy?
The bottom.
The bottom, because x is greater than 1, right? So f of 3 is going to follow negative 2 times 3 plus 8, which is 2. How about negative 2? Which one do I follow? Top guy. Because x is less than or equal to 1. Negative 2 is less than or equal to 1. 3 times negative 2 squared plus 2 times negative 2 minus 4. Negative 2 squared is 4 times 3 is 12. Minus 4 minus 4. I think we get 4. And then f of 1, which one do I follow, the top or the bottom? Top again, right? Because 1 is less than or equal to 1. So we get 3 times 1 squared plus 2 times 1 minus 4. 3 plus 2 is 5 minus 4 is 1. So there you just have to be careful about your domain. Okay. This is called a piecewise defined function. Make sure your x is in the correct area. Okay. When x is 3, you got to follow the bottom. When x is negative 2, you got to follow the top. And when x is 1, you have to follow the top as well. Questions on 26. We're going to get there. We're going to get there. 27. Find an equation of the line through 6, negative 5, and a 1, negative 9. Write your answer in slope-intercept form, which is y equals on x plus b. Remember, you can have a note card tomorrow from back. Or tomorrow, no, Friday. Friday, sorry. So we have to find the slope here. Y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So let's go negative 5 plus 9 over 6 minus 1. Just 4/5, looks like, is my slope. And that means my equation is something like y equals 4/5 x plus b. So what I have to do now is pick one of those points and plug in for x and y. Doesn't matter which one you pick. All right. Just pick the one that looks like it's going to be probably easiest, which might be this one, I guess, because x is just 1. Makes it a little easier. So y is negative 9, 4/5 times 1 plus b. Well, 4/5 times 1 is just 4/5. We should probably make 9 in terms of fifths. It's 45/5. Let's subtract 4/5. And we get negative 49/5 equals b.
Wait, how'd you get from negative 9?
I multiply top and bottom by 5. Because I'm going to have to subtract fifths. I'm making a common denominator. I'm preemptively making a common denominator.
Okay.
Then I'm going to subtract 4/5. So I make 9 45/5.
If you were to not do it, would you still get the right answer?
Like you get a decimal approximation or something, I guess.
Okay.
So my final equation would be y equals 4/5 x minus 49/5. So 4/5 y-intercept of negative 49/5. Questions on that one? Should make sense.
Can you leave it up
If it's slope-intercept, you got to find the slope first, right? y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Calculate that slope, then plug in the x and the y and solve for b. Why not?
So you just gave them a common denominator and then you subtracted the 4?
Yeah, so subtract this over,
Okay.
and then negative 45 minus 4 is negative 49. Questions?
Can you leave it up for a second?
I can't.
Thank you.
Wait, while we're waiting, I have a question on one from yesterday.
Okay.
It was.
Okay.
Wait.
Let me get through these.
Okay.
All right, questions? All right, here we go. 28, write an equation of the line through 2, negative 1, and perpendicular to y equals negative 3/4 x plus 2. Now, perpendicular lines have opposite reciprocal slopes. The slope of this line is negative 3/4, which means the slope of my new line should be 4/3. Do you agree with that? Flip it upside down and change the sign. Flip it upside down and change the sign. And then we do the exact same thing that we just did. Plug in 2 for x, plug in negative 1 for y. 4/3 times 2 is 8/3. And again, I should probably just go ahead and make negative 1 into thirds. I'm gonna have to subtract 8/3 anyway. So let's make -1, -3/3. Subtract 8/3, I get -11/3 for B. So my final equation is y equals 4/3 x minus 11/3. Lots of fractions. It's good for you. For the soul. Oh yeah. Questions on 28? 29. And of course, this video will be posted if you need to see it, those things again. Vertex and axis of symmetry. Here we have to complete the square, but remember it's all on one side. So we're going to do all of our work on the right-hand side. So we're going to say f of x equals x squared minus 4x. I'm going to leave a gap and then say plus 7. How do I fill in that gap? Cut in half and square, right? So -4 cut in half is -2, squared is 4. So I'm going to add a 4 here. So what do I have to do on the right-hand side to compensate for that plus 4? I have to subtract 4, right? I got to subtract 4. And now this guy is set up to be a perfect square. That's the whole point. Multiply +4, add -4. Multiply +4, add -4. It's the same number twice. -2 and -2, right? And then 7 minus 4 is 3. So what's my vertex? Be careful here. What makes x minus 2 0? +2. And what's my y? It's +3, right? The x part, you flip-flop the sign, but the y part, you don't. Remember that? So the vertex is 2, 3, and the axis of symmetry, it's always x equals this constant. X equals 2. X equals a constant to vertical line. And it always goes through that vertex. So if your vertex were like 7, 12, the line of symmetry would be x equals 7. Completing the square. Questions on 29. All right, last one. Just gonna have enough time. F of x equals x squared plus 2, g of x equals 3x minus 1. Find f of g of 1. Well, here we go from the inside out. What's g of 1? Yeah, it's 2, isn't it? 3 times 1 minus 1, which is 2. So f of g of 1 is the same thing as f of 2, because we're replacing g of 1 with 2. G of 1 and 2 are the same thing. And then f of 2 is 2 squared plus 2, which is 6. And then g of f of x, again, start from the inside out. This is the same thing as g of x squared plus 2. And what's g of x squared plus 2? Follow the g function, but make x squared plus 2 your x. Yeah. Follows the g rule, but now your input is x squared plus 2. Okay. There you go. There you go. Questions on 21 to 30? I set a land speed record. I apologize for that. All right.
Fascinating.
I will post this.
Wait, we discussed them, okay?